Scotland builds the largest grid-connected transmission, balancing and forming battery project in Europe. HGVs go green with 1 megawatt EV chargers for HGVs now being built in the UK for Marks and Spencer's. The UK swelters in a record heatwave while Yorkshire declares a hosepipe ban. Well, the National Grid thanks the efforts of all those altruistic viewers I have who worry so much about the challenges the grid faces with the rapid rise in renewable energy and provides the assurances that you seek. They're already on the job. Zenobia is a UK-based fleet and grid-scale battery storage specialist working with the National Grid and others to make certain that the grid is and will remain fit for purpose as the demand for electricity is set to double with heat pumps, data centres, AI research centres, HGEVs and even more EVs. They're located between Inverness and Aberdeen to be able to work directly with the nearby offshore wind farms of Viking, which has 443 megawatts of power, Moray East 950 megawatts and Beatrice, strange name, 588 megawatts. The Black Hillock site is in 2 phases, the first offering 200 megawatts, second offering 100. So you've got a total of 300 megawatts of power handling and 600 megawatt hours. Well, that's enough to power 3.1 million homes, which is actually more than Scotland has, and it can run them for an hour in an emergency. But energy storage and backup supply are just a small part of its tasks. In addition, the project will eliminate the issues regarding the variability of renewable energy. See, the grid really does not like variable power. It much prefers a nice steady supply that traditionally has always been provided by gas-fired and nuclear power stations. That is the reason wind farms with loads of power are regularly turned off, still paid, and the gas turbines are turned on. They get paid. But the future's renewable electric, and Black Hillock is the first to be equipped with grid-forming technology and is projected to save over £170 million over the next 15 years. So in brief, the output of wind and solar farms varies wildly with the clouds going over the panels and gusty winds. And somebody previously would always have to do the job of trying to balance this lot into a nice, steady, stable grid. And that severely limited how much renewable energy entered the grid because at any time it could peak. Hence why they favour gas and nuclear. It just makes their lives easier. But renewable energy is now by far the cheapest and greenest energy they can obtain, and money matters. So as problems arise, so do solutions. Remember, at one time we believed we could not travel faster than a galloping horse or we'd suffocate. And at one time we could not fly for more than a few hundred feet and only a few feet above the ground. We find solutions. Grid-forming batteries are one solution. The variable power of the turbines and the PV panels is fed not into the grid but into the battery pack. That doesn't mind how much it varies, it just uses whatever it gets. Now once it's stored, the battery packs have an inverter inside which provides an output of a balanced, stabilised electricity supply, and that is what's fed into the grid. The turbines and the panels continue to provide variable power, but the grid only ever gets this nice stable supply. Now technology's gone one further. Zenobia also operates Wishaw in North Lanarkshire and is the first to be connected directly into the transmission side of the grid. And that deals with moving huge amounts of power around the whole country, because it was here that major bottleneck occurred. The transmission infrastructure also could not cope with that variability, couldn't allow too much in case they got a sudden peak. And that was limiting how much renewable energy from anywhere could be added to the grid. Now Wishaw will not only supply power into the grid, it will provide totally stabilised power directly into the transmission side of the grid that overpowers the variability already in the grid. Every time you turn on a kettle, it varies slightly. It stabilises the grid, allowing much more renewable electricity to be transmitted around the UK to where it's actually needed. Now, alongside Zenobē, numerous others, Tesla's been working away with their megapacks, like in Jamesfield near Abernethy in Scotland, which came online 2024, and Little Wraith near Carrington, Fife. Jamesfield provides a similar grid-forming supply to the grid, and alone is projected to save about $309 million in the next 15 years. So, all you out there, far from worrying about whether or not the grid can cope, you can look forward to cheaper bills, thanks to renewables and the work being done on battery energy storage systems, BESS for short. Oh yeah, we get cleaner air to breathe. Well, so much emphasis has been placed on EVs and so little on HGVs, which is now being corrected. HGVs produce around a fifth of the total pollution in the UK, despite relatively small numbers compared to cars. But behind the scenes, Marks and Spencer's have been running 5 fully electric HGVs in a 6-month trial, and the results are actually a big success. HGEVs, or is that EHGVs? We would work that one out. Provided by Renault, have been delivering clothing and home products from their Welham Green depot to 20 stores across London and the South East. That includes Oxford Street and Bluewater. One of the first results was the driver feedback. Overwhelmingly, these seasoned previous diesel drivers preferred the HGVs for comfort, reduced noise level and smoother vehicle handling. Yeah, what a surprise. I am surprised they didn't mention ease of driving. HGVs have up to 16 manual gears that need constant changing. The HGVs they're driving have 6 90 kilowatt-hour batteries and 3 electric motors, providing 490 kilowatts of power. And that goes into a 12-speed, fully automated, computer-controlled gearbox. All you have is an accelerator pedal now. Well, again, many viewers have previously pointed out you can't charge them fast enough. Sorry, that's also plain wrong, as this test found out, because these 5 HGVs were double shifted, and charging was by courtesy of Voltempo. But not only did they cope perfectly well over the entire last 6 months, but the chargers are also made available for EVs, for the rest of the business, to use when the HGVs are out on the road. It's a double bonus. Well, the previous article featured Zenobē, and they've just announced a new partnership with FSEW. This is the global freight forwarding service. They're establishing a brand new low-carbon freight hub in Cardiff, Wales. This will be the first in Wales to be powered by 100% renewable green energy. And that's real renewable, not this carbon offset rubbish. They'll have 4 400 kilowatt chargers, and they're going to be installed to provide power for FSEW's 4 brand new Volvo trucks, HGEVs of course, and a further order for 5 eActros 600 tractor units. Many motorists will already know that the M4 in Wales in many places is already speed restricted, has been for a good number of years. And there's signs everywhere saying this is to reduce pollution. It's a pollution reduction measure. I'd suggest that a few more dozen zero-emission HGVs will probably reduce pollution far more. FSEW set a target of operating a totally diesel-free fleet by 2025. This was achieved ahead of schedule. They now operate a fleet of over 2,000 electric vehicles across 120 depots globally. We're doing this for the better health and air quality, a spokesman said. Yeah. And Wales itself has also set ambitious targets for reducing pollution. Every little helps. Well, the UK hit a temperature more than 40 degrees C in July 2022, and the forecast is we might exceed that this year. Certainly in the next decade, we're likely to see 45 centigrade. Last time I was in anything like that heat, I was in Egypt, and it hit 48. But with the ultra-low humidity, it actually felt okay. 40 C in the UK is worrying. But maybe more worrying is Yorkshire in the northwest. That includes rainy Manchester, because they're all in drought. And some have hosepipe bans in force. We might need to rename Manchester. Any suggestions? Well, I sincerely hope we are already well past the pointless arguing as to who caused all this and onto the essential what can we do about it discussion. And we're not alone. In recent years, Germany, the River Rhine dried up. In France, they couldn't run their nuclear power plants because the river levels were too low to supply enough cooling water, and it was warm water at that. And Canada and California are experiencing the most severe droughts and consequently the worst wildfires ever experienced, ever. And what do we get? Trump stands up and says, well, they predicted rain for my birthday parade and it didn't, so how can they possibly predict what will happen in 10 or 50 years' time? They can't, he claims. It's all a big hoax. Has nobody told you the difference between weather and climate? Well, let me be the first. Weather is what is happening right now. It's raining, it's sunny, it's hot, it's cold. It might be very different tomorrow or even 5 miles up the road. It's not only what, it's where and when. I remember as a keen angler sitting on a canal bank and seeing rain landing on the water 100 yards away while I, several others, remained totally dry. Weather is very specific in time and place. Climate, on the other hand, is the overall picture. Take a desert. Yeah, it gets roasting hot during the day. It gets freezing cold at night. Still a desert. In Egypt, they have flash storms and floods that last a matter of minutes but dump millions or billions of gallons of water onto a bone-dry desert. Generally, it has very low rainfall with high temperatures, and the fact that it rains really heavily once or twice every few years or gets cold occasionally doesn't change the fact it's still a desert. Here in the UK, we're temperate. Temperatures have hit 40°C before. We also get freezing cold winters. Beast from the east, and we get flooding quite regularly. We can grow many food crops, we can rear cows and sheep and pigs and things. We're a temperate country, generally neither very hot nor very cold, pretty average for most of the time, but we do get those floods and the freezing and snow drifts and heat waves. We are overall still a temperate climate. But that now is changing. The UK is getting hotter. It's not only getting hotter each year, but the pace of getting hotter is increasing. Now, we of a certain age well remember 1976 with the heatwave and the drought it brought. Now, that actually started the previous year with a very mild and dry winter, which itself followed a very hot and dry summer. But by May of 1976, it was really serious. Hosepipe bans came into force, and into places the water was actually turned off and standpipes were installed. Yeah, they put a pipe into the road, you filled up. You could only get your water from standpipes in the street. You filled up containers, you had to carry it home. That was all you had. Nothing came out the taps. Many rivers ran completely dry. Yeah, in 1976. It just went on for week after week. Until we had a massive thunderstorm late August bank holiday weekend, at least it was down in Cornwall, and it was over. Following winter was wetter than ever, reservoirs filled up, panic over. Now for me there are two things I take from this anecdote. The first is that the maximum temperature during that heatwave in 1976 was 35.9°C, recorded on just one day. They had two periods where the temperatures just exceeded 30 for 6 days. That's the qualification to become a heatwave. And Heathrow Airport got a 16-day stretch, 23rd of June to the 8th of July, also just over 30 centigrade. Today, we're expecting the temperature this summer to exceed 40. That's a huge leap. Add in the fact that the top 10 hottest years on record since 1884 are all in the last 20 years. 2022 saw the record set at 40.3 centigrade, but 30°C at some point is now quite commonplace in May, June, or even late summer. Now, if the next 10 years also produce the top hottest years, then we could be entering into a new climate that we've not yet experienced. The second thing I take from 1976 is that it only ended when it finally started raining. In other words, there was absolutely nothing we could do about it other than to wait and hope and pray that nature would give us a break. That is a worry to me for the future. You see, when I'm doing research, I often ask myself the question, what if? And that's followed by some question I'm trying to answer. Well, here I ask, what if this early heat wave we're actually having right now doesn't stop? What if the reservoirs run dry again and the rivers dry up again? And the most important question of all is, what happens if 1 year nature does not come to our rescue just in the nick of time? Now, I can fully understand why councils and governments around the entire world are now doing something about it. I understand that we must begin right now to start planning for those what ifs. I totally fail to understand those who state categorically, oh, it's all just natural cycles, nature will one day just reverse it all, and then we can carry on as usual as if nothing had happened, just like we did back in 1997. But the question still stands. What if nature doesn't? Well, viewer comments follow along on this theme following some of the videos we've launched, good, bad and ugly. To start with ugly, I've changed that to downright ridiculous. Thank you, Plunge Lul, however you pronounce it. You have a friend who regularly drives 350-mile round trip. Yeah, that would actually be between 6 and 8 hours of actual driving, depending on traffic and whether you're on motorways or A roads or B roads. And that's not including essential stops for toilets and meals. That's a fun day for someone on a regular basis. Not. Then he cannot stop at motorway services to charge his car because he doesn't drink tea or coffee. Oh, I get a picture. Okay, you got me. This is a wind-up, isn't it? I fell for this. This is just so utterly ludicrous, ridiculous, can't possibly be real. Well done, whoever you are. You got me. Anyway, for the good, get the opposite from Fred Guild 2520, which I know isn't a wind-up, that's exactly what I experienced. No messing, no screen, no payment. Just let your car choose which charger to use, plug it in, let it charge. Why look for trouble? That's my job. Now, for the bad, I'm going to take Sarge Fowler 9603, who tries to portray a really negative image. Think twice if you live in a flat. Well, that's actually really good advice, but I'd actually go further. It should be think twice if you want to buy any car, and always take into account all of the issues before you choose it. Surely, if you look at EVs and you can't charge at home, you're going to find out where you can charge and how much it's going to cost you before you buy an EV. Maybe he didn't. Surely everyone checks their insurance before getting their next car. Maybe he didn't. Oh, now, by the way, on ferries, they now have chargers on board, and most car parks have banks of chargers inside them. It'd be really weird to ban them now. Public EV charging prices, they're all over the place, but settling down into 3 distinct areas. We've got the oil giants and then the expensive ones, which expect us to pay 82 up to 93 pence and above to charge. Don't use them. Listen to Graham Wall, 2834. Next, we got the mid-price players. These are generally around about 40 to 60p, some of them heading down a bit lower than 40p, but often, depending on the time of day, can be cheaper overnight. Now, these can be used. These are quite all right. And finally, we have the ultra cheap, right down at 20p. Once again, Graham told you who they are. Why people don't change where they charge, but they're happy to complain to me about the price baffles me. If I had a choice between charge here, end of the road, and pay £45, or drive for 20 minutes and pay £10, I know which I'd choose. Seems I'm not normal. Well, the fancy EV share portfolio has taken a hit this week, but it's still in a very healthy profit. Very pleased with it. Results a bit laggy because it's Juneteenth today and stock markets in the US are closed. It means I cannot virtually buy anything today. This is Thursday, which is a day I prepare my video for launching Friday morning. I've had my eye on BYD for some time. They've taken a hit over in the US about tariffs and their plans down in Mexico, which are a little bit scuppered. But it's also now getting more support from Europe, because Europe now is fighting the US tariffs themselves and getting more lenient towards China. This, in my mind, makes it the right time to buy. If you wait till prices have already risen before following your instinct, you usually be too late. Try to predict and you can gain far more. You can also lose more. $1,000 of BYD is now on order, so you're going to have to wait a little while to see how they open. Now, if there's anyone out there who would like to meet me face-to-face, possibly buy me a coffee or preferably a donut, there's an event happening in Manchester. You need to look it up. It's be.ev. They've got an opening event at the Manchester Oasis. and this is a fantastic place. We did a video on this recently, and it has everything going for it. It's a really good place, including some of the best prices around. 55 pence peak, 25 pence off peak. We were there before the place was officially launched. They're launching on Saturday. When this video comes out, that's going to be tomorrow, and it's between 12 and 2:30. So if you're anywhere in the area or you'd like to meet me, even if you don't like to meet me, go along and have a look at what's there. There'll be representatives from B.EV and loads of other people as well. So come along, we can meet up, and we'll have a chat about things. And I've had a couple of offers. One sounds really interesting. That's the electric motorhome. That one I do want to see. So you got in touch with me saying you're going to be there. I really hope you are. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Dave. Now, if you have enjoyed this, please click the like button. Every single click does help us. If you'd like to, leave a comment down below, and I'm sure there'll be many on the way from today's episode. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe, click the notification bell so we can notify you when they're coming. Subscriptions make a huge difference to the channel, so please click the subscribe button. Yeah, right now. Big thank you, as always, to our members. We have Patreon members and YouTube members, and without their support, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing at the moment. So thank you very much for staying with us, and thank you very much to all the new ones who are joining us on a regular basis. I'm Dave. This is Dave Takes It On.